episode of Big and Stupid Game Reviews. I'm Stupid J.
Big Mike. Today we're going to be reviewing Syndicate.
I'm going to let you start this one.
We're going to start off a little bit different than we usually do, especially with a shooter, because I'm going to talk about what I liked about it. Shooting, everything worked fine. Controls, everything was fine. It had a little bit something different with when you would hack, you hack the people's chips that they have in their heads, make them kill themselves, make them fight for you. You can make their guns backfire, which makes it's just something a little bit different, and sometimes just a little bit different's enough. It looks good, plays good. The story is generic, but not anything offensive. It's a fine story.
It's a futuristic sci-fi shooter.
Futuristic and
where corporations rule the world.
Espionage and
political.
Got the agents who have the better chips, and everybody's crossing everybody else, and so it was fine. It was like sort of a Blade Runner-y story. I like that sort of thing, the cyberpunk stuff. Characters all pretty generic, but again not offensive. Nobody was horrible. Except Merritt's hair. What's going on with the back of his hair? That was the only thing. I was like, what's going on? I couldn't get past it the whole game. What's going on with Merritt's hair? Yeah. So what did you like about it?
Not much. Not much at all. I'm glad you used the term cyberpunk, because I really thought this was going to be a hardcore cyberpunk shooter, everything I read on it, and it just didn't turn out that way. It was more like the Wachowski brothers view of what cyberpunk is, where everyone wears black leather trench coats and, I don't know. It just didn't look as cool. And every time you fly through the city, like in the helicopters and the dropships, and you look at it, the city just looked lifeless. It looked generic. I don't know if that was supposed to be like symbolism.
Yeah.
But like when I'm flying through, it's like, I don't believe this looks like a Lego town. This doesn't look like a city. It didn't feel organic at all. Like the whole game, I didn't feel like I was even shooting people. I felt like I was shooting robots. I don't know. I was totally lost. I thought the story was crap. I was uninterested. I was playing on my phone through a lot of the CG sequences. There's literally a CG sequence that's almost 10 minutes long, and all it is you walking down a hall with the dude, and him telling you. And I'm just like, well, guess I'll check my Facebook.
Yeah.
Because I don't care. Even the platforming levels are boring. Platforming should be fun.
Oh, see, that was actually, I'm glad you said that, because I didn't write down, I usually write down the stuff that I want to say, but that was one of the things that I actually enjoyed. It wasn't, it was one of those things. First person platforming is usually bad, because it's hard to make good platforming. So
and to judge your jumps and whatnot.
So they didn't do any of that stuff. You just had to figure out where to go and what you had to hack, for the elevator to come down, or for, this thing to come up, those little platforms to come up.
And they didn't even do that too often. Most of it was
no, there wasn't
jump
enough
up a shelf, onto the next shelf, onto a pipe, go across the pipe, rip off a vent, go through the vent. And some of those were literally, that was an entire mission.
Yeah.
That was an entire mission. And it was like a 10-minute mission. I'm like, that was a level?
Yeah.
Are you fucking kidding me? It's like, I don't mind it. I always hate making comparisons, but I'm going to just throw Assassin's Creed out there. Even though I'm not a fan of like those platformers, what was cool, what they did right about it was there was like tricks to stuff. You had to like move a mechanism, and this would move that. There's none of that. There's no like puzzles to solve to do it or whatever. That would have kept me more occupied. It was just kind of like, oh, I'm stuck. Where do I go? Oh, I walk up that ladder.
Yeah. That was
boring. I don't care.
I spent about 10 minutes in the first, when you first escape from the chair.
Mhm.
You're in that big warehouse. I spent 10 minutes because I didn't see the ladder there.
Well, that's my other main problem is the HUD. For some reason, there's no map. Okay, whatever. I have a hard time believing in the future where we're smart enough to put chips in our brains that we can literally slow down time, speed up our reflexes, make people kill themselves, but we can't have a GPS? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
I didn't even know where I was going most of the time.
Well, you didn't need to because only one door opened. There was only one way that you could go.
But there were times where you would have to find, like, a vent, or you would have to, like, shoot a, like, extinguisher thing to freeze a glass plate
Yes.
window or whatever. I didn't know. I'm, like, looking around, like, what the fuck am I supposed to do? If I had a HUD or a map just to say, you have to get from this point to that point,
Yeah.
then I would have been like, okay, this is the direction I at least have to look in. I didn't even have that. It would give me an objective marker sometimes, but if it just gave me the objective marker the whole level, I would have been more happier
Yeah.
about it. But I mean, it gave you your the stuff you needed: bullets, your special abilities, your data thing to slow down time.
Yeah.
And then it would have this big glowing
Yeah,
blue thing in the
yeah.
middle of the screen that gets in your way,
Yes.
and I'm like, what is the? Yeah, that could have been a map.
Yeah, that glowing blue thing was stupid.
You know, I don't know. Just the controls worked fine. I thought the tutorial was lackluster. It helped me a little bit,
Yeah.
but like I explained to you off camera, there were times where I couldn't figure out how to use certain weapons.
Yeah.
And some weapons have two choices. Like one will shoot grenades, and another one you can shoot multiple.
Yes. I couldn't figure out how to do that either.
By accident, I figured it out.
Did you?
Yeah, and it
Because
doesn't
the one,
tell you.
the one gun says that you can shoot through stuff in the alternative mode.
Mhm.
I couldn't switch it to the alternative. I pressed every button.
But down on the D-pad. That's all you had to do.
Down on the D-pad.
Yep.
I hate that D-pad.
That's why when you had your three choices, it was left, right, and up on the D-pad. Because down
Oh.
switched your gun modes.
Christ, now I'm gonna have to play it again.
It's okay, because you're going to need to know that if you play this game.
Yes. Yes, you will. Because I literally got through the whole game and didn't know how to switch modes
Yeah,
on my gun.
because there are some that are automatic fire rifles,
Yeah.
and then you could turn it into a sniper rifle,
Yeah.
and it actually makes your bullets more powerful too.
Ah.
So there's a lot of times where a lot of that would help you. You
Yeah.
know? But that gun I never picked up because for some reason when you focus aimed,
Yeah.
you held it sideways,
Yes.
and your reticle was straight, but your
That was actually my favorite
I'm like,
gun.
what the fuck am I doing?
Well, it wasn't my favorite gun. My favorite gun was the one that made the magical bullets go kill the guy no matter where they are. But I hardly saw that gun except for that first
I
thing
got
and
twice.
then way at the
Yeah, I
end.
got twice in the game. Well, I think that was supposed to be an experimental gun.
Oh, okay.
Because that's why you find that guy at the shooting range.
Yeah, yeah.
Either way, they don't explain that either.
No. And the other thing that drove me crazy, this is just a stupid thing, but it was driving me nuts through the whole thing. This guy, he has this super powerful thing. He takes when something's chained shut, he grabs this big fat chain and just
Yeah.
rips it off. But when he has to open
A door.
a shoddy door,
Yeah. An
Yeah.
event. Can't open an event.
I
I broke out of chairs.
Yeah.
Ripping chains up. No,
Yeah.
I totally was getting into that.
yeah, that was it. Just little stuff. like
Yeah,
that.
it's inconsistent.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be a badass
Yes.
agent. You're supposed to be
That
like really bad. You're
That
actually
part-
you're supposed to be experimental.
Yeah.
So you should be even more badass
Yeah.
than most. But
that part, it was, like I said, it was stupid, but it sort of takes you out of it a little
I
bit.
don't know.
The-
Now, I know the powers you gain, like the
Yeah.
suicide and all, and the backfire. That's supposed to help segregate this more from regular shooters.
Yeah.
And I know
That was
that's
why I enjoyed it.
and I know you're gonna, and this is why I'm gonna bring it up because we're obviously not gonna agree on this.
Yeah.
I totally thought that most of it was a waste. Backfire, you needed it for a crowd basically, and it made a guy more vulnerable.
Yeah.
But then you had to have the perfect shot.
Oh yeah, I
Most
hardly
of the
used,
time-
I hardly used
Most of the time, though, backfire was using it on guys behind cover.
Yeah.
Suicide, same way. It affects a group of guys, but everyone's running around.
Yeah.
So usually it only affected the guy killing himself.
Mhm.
And then what was the third one?
Third one was Persuade.
Persuade. I used that one more than the others, and it actually was. He would actually last a while.
Oh yeah, you're
Except
supposed
for-
to. Persuade is
Yeah.
like that's why that one takes the
Yeah.
longest.
Except for when you fought mini bosses, then he was just instantly killed.
Oh yeah.
But for the, I was just like, this is supposed to help segregate this, make this different from other shooters, and I just was like, well, half these are useless to me most of the time in battle, and I think the reason why it irks me so much is because this is made by Starbreeze, the guys that gave us the first Darkness game. The first Darkness was the shooter where you went, holy shit, this is different, this is whatever, and this is the same guys.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I just maybe expected too much.
Yeah.
Maybe I did, but I don't know. It just seemed like I could have got much more out of it. I didn't feel like the badass I was supposed to, you know, and...
I won't disagree with that stuff. You weren't as badass. It did have parts that took you out of what you were supposed to be doing. But it was different enough for me to like, and it was short enough that it didn't lose my attention.
Oh, it's damn short. It's damn short. But, let's talk multiplayer.
Okay, let's do it quickly because I barely played it.
Okay, well, you didn't have to. Here's the thing, you didn't have to. There's one mode, and the mode is pick a map, and there's an objective. You go fill out the objective with 3 other people online. That's it. That's all multiplayer is. Fun for the first 2 maps I played, and I was like, okay, I get it. It's the same thing. You know, I wasn't saying I was expecting team death matches or something like that, but I would have accepted it just for the choices.
Yeah.
But the fact that I have one mode, and if it was more story driven, I would have been happier with that. If they're just like, okay, agents, you guys need to take out this guy because of so and so, and then you go, and then the bad guy's like, wait, I can do this for you, and blah blah. If it was a little bit more story driven, it's not. It's like, go get this thing.
Yeah.
Why? Just go get it.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm a drone, and you go and you get it.
Well, that's multiplayer. That's what multiplayer is.
What I'm saying is, if you're gonna have one mode, just one.
No, I understand.
I mean,
I understand.
Make it meaty.
I understand, but the point of multiplayer is, it doesn't matter what the game is. The whole thing is interacting with other supposedly intelligent human beings instead of with just the computer AI.
Well, the thing is a game like this, and even though I didn't love it, I do think it's a good game.
Yeah.
You know, don't get me wrong, but this futuristic sci-fi stuff with hacking and everything, you really could have done some really neat stuff with multiplayer. Like, the only thing that I really did with my hacking skills was healing my partners.
Yeah.
You had to be in a certain radius. You could run in and heal them real quick, or you could do it from behind cover if you were in the radius.
Yeah.
That was kind of cool. I didn't have to get on top of a guy and tap the A button or anything ridiculous. I could have gotten relatively close, healed my partners, you know, and that's pretty much what I did. I let them run around like idiots, and I was support fire. I stayed behind and kept everyone healed up. Which, at least I was being a team player, helping out my team. Yeah. You know, but that's the only time I used it.
Yeah.
You could have done cool stuff like hacked a conveyor belt to drop crates on a guy, or made their guns backfire. That wasn't even in it.
Yeah.
You know, little stuff like that would have been more helpful.
Yeah.
I probably could have had more fun, and that would have made my opinion of the game go up as well. Because then I would have had more reason to play it.
Yeah. Well, my opinion, as you know, is usually based on the single player. I thought it was good. I don't know if it was $60 good, but I'm gonna give this probably a $45. Like, if you can get it used fairly soon, which you probably will because there's not that much to it, so people will start trading it in. Go for it. I mean, you get your money's worth.
I'm gonna say $20, man.
Wow.
I thought the story was crap. I thought it was predictable. It didn't look very crisp and clean. It looked okay. Characters looked alright, but it just felt like I was just running through, shooting robots till I got to the next part, shot more ropes to the next part, then climbing up pipes and going through ventilation shafts and shooting more guys.
Well, that's a first-person shooter.
And regular bosses were just souped up mini bosses with no tricks, no skill to fight. They just had a higher life bar.
Yeah. And
that's only a technicality because there are no life bars in this game. You can never tell if you're doing damage. That's another thing. Pisses me off. When you're fighting a bad guy and you don't know if you're actually working.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, I found that shooting worked on everybody.
Well, but you know what I mean. You're like, is this the right weapon? And I can use it to take down more health and shit like that.
Oh, you were overthinking it.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it did hold my hand enough then, I guess.
Yeah. Well, it's a fine... Just, you know, you would have thought that on a first-person shooter that I liked, we would have had a closer opinion. But Nope.
What can I say? You suck.
So, we have like 35 videos up now. You know who you agree with at this point.
Yeah, so, well, it is what it is. Before we sign out, I just want to also give a shout out to Robert Kane, who I'm wearing his awesome t-shirt, which he gave me. It also does some of my tattoos, and he gave me lots of awesome Skyrim tips. For when I finally got around to Skyrim.
Cool.
So, which we're also going to be reviewing.
Yes.
So, I wanted to thank Robert Kane for t-shirts, awesome artwork. Check him out on Facebook. Robert Kane, it's Kane with a K-A-N-E. But more importantly, when you're on Facebook, you should be liking us.
You should.
You really should.
Yeah, you really should.
I mean, we're pretty fantastic.
Yeah, we're great.
If not, at least one of us is. That's
Yeah.
for fucking sure. And you should know who that is by now. You know. So,
All right.
all right. See you next week.
Well,
Or
not next
time.
week because we have 3 videos coming up today.